Okay, so this is going to be the first Ask Inky. Now, it's going to be a little bit grassroots, you could say. As you can see, I haven't been able to figure out how to get my webcam working in color. So I can only use it in black and white right now. So that's the start. But what this series is going to be, on a more serious note, is just me answering general questions about Millie. Anything from, ideally about Millie. Anything from, looking at the questions today, anything from how do you beat Fox Nair to at what point in Millie did you feel like you're going to be top 100? So I'm going to be getting to both of those as well as a couple other things. I feel like the series has a lot of potential if I record it and then cut it and produce it properly. Maybe add like little ways of sectioning off each question. It would also make it easier for me to record because I can record it in segments if I did it that way. But yeah, each of these sessions I'm gonna smoke a joint, as I normally do, and just read off some of the questions. I have Millie set up here as well. So if any questions are Millie related, I can kind of show with my work visually as well. So let's get into it. The first question we had, it was, at what point in your Millie career did it click and you realized that you were capable / close to becoming an elite / top 100 level player? Did you always believe you could be this good going back to your first tournament, or was it not until a breakout moment later on? So first off, good question. For me, and I think that this is common in a lot of people who do well in sports across the map. It's not just like a me thing. It's not a Millie thing. It's not something unique. It's something that's very, very common at a top level, which is that I've always had an unparalleled belief in myself. And like that will come off egotistical, but I played games for a long, long time. I was really good at some other games that I played, like top 10 in hybriding in RuneScape, if like you were ever part of that era. And so that kind of came with the idea that if I really put my mind to it and worked hard, I could probably be top 10 in the world in Melee, is what I would used to think. I would go to bed some nights, like the second, third year I'd even been playing, dreaming, and in my dream I would beat Mutaking and I'd get to play Mango, and sometimes I'd beat Mango in my dream, sometimes I'd lose to him in my dream. Even in my dream, the kid still got it. And across all sports you'll see that. You'll see a lot of top level competitors that are like, yeah, no, I'm best in the world, or like I will be the best in the world, or I have what it takes. Like that belief in yourself is something that you should have, because that belief, it's almost like an additional layer of motivation and purpose, and it adds to your focus and makes you calmer. Sometimes it can get in the way in terms of your emotions if you want it too bad, so to speak. And so there's been periods in my life where I wasn't doing well, and I was plugging away at the game, and I wanted to get better, but I wasn't really playing to get better. I was kind of just playing because it was an outlet. And so for like 3-4 years, I was give or take around the same level. And then I took myself away from the game, and I just started to look at life more, and about how life is all about learning, and how if you're not getting the most out of each experience, like what are you doing it for? And so like purpose is subjective. I feel like I'm probably wasting my time playing video games in some ways already, but if I'm going to be playing them, I might as well be playing them as proactively as I can. And so I'd say like 3 or 4 years ago, post COVID, because during COVID I kind of IRL stuffed, and like I try to balance Millie and life too much, and so I wanted to be top 100 and I wanted to be that guy, but I felt like I didn't deserve it. And so was when I played, I would play with that mentality, and so I felt like I kept falling into old habits. And move the talking stick here. Anyway, all this to say is that the journey of becoming a top 100 player and then a top 50 player, a top 10 player is a multifaceted experience. And the same goes for becoming elite in any sport. Like, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have bottlenecks. You have moments where you feel like you probably can't do it. But, like, if you feel like, I feel like to become a good player, you first have to have that undaunted belief, because then you can set goals around that belief. Like, if you don't think that you can do it, your goals are going to be so small-minded that you're never going to put the steps in place to, like, become the best. And for me, another thing that I kind of haven't really committed to is, like, if you really want to be the best, you have to commit everything to it. And so there's been a couple times in my life where, like, I've had opportunities to maybe move or do something drastic that would change my life or be a big risk to me. And I know that if I had what it takes to be a top 10 player, I would take that risk, and if it failed, I'm not dead, so I'd pick myself back up, and I would try something like that just as well, in spite of how much it hurts to not succeed in something. I think that's the thing that really separates, like, the top 100 to the top 10, is you have to be that fanatical about it, and that's something I've been missing. So, and that's something I've been thinking about a lot, is whether it's okay for me to miss that, in terms of my own goals in life. So, yeah, to sum it all up, I used to think I was, at the very start, I thought I could be number one. And you get older and you learn a lot and you get perspective. And that's not to say that I couldn't have already or that I can't, but yeah, life is more complicated than that. Anyway, good question. 7 minutes to answer that, give or take 5. This might be a long video. Second question, what's one piece of advice you wish you had gotten before? I mean, it's kind of in the same vein, where I spent so many years of my life just not being in a good place, and kind of not seeing the end of that, and so just kind of using Melee as a way of getting by. When if I had known how much life had to offer me, and just has to offer in general, I would have been able to kind of just put the steps in earlier. I think that, like, a lot of people, they go for that quick dopamine, and I'm one of them. And I think that it's really wise for someone to set a goal, know that you can't build Rome in a day, and to still trust the process even when you're not getting anything out of it on a short term. Even if you're not, and the payoff, the reason why, like, a lot of these top players pop off so hard when they win is because they've experienced that, and that's something that is super beneficial to all people in life, in and outside of Melee, just putting in those steps. So I wish I'd gotten that advice when I was like 20. I probably wouldn't have listened to it, but I wish I would have gotten it earlier. I wish it would have stuck if I did. Anyway. Third question, let's move on to something a bit more light. It's a bit more Melee-centric. How does keeping center stage make neutral easier for you? Good question. I wonder if I can show that through... Hold on, let me see if I have... I might have a way of showing this effectively. Let's see if this works. It does. Okay. So... a lot of people are going to think this is cringe. Let's say this one here. Probably a good example. So when fighters start a fight, because mentally relate a lot of melee to like real martial arts and things like that because the way that both have evolved are very similar in terms of spacing, in terms of threats, in terms of
He looked good. He looked young.
in terms of a lot of things. And so something you'll notice in a fight is the fighters both run out and meet in the middle. Well, why don't they just stay on the outside? You know, why don't they just stay on the cage? Well, it's because they have less options on the cage. You know, when you're when you're in the corner, you just have less things you can go for. Either of these guys here, they can choose to fight, or they can choose to step backwards. Being able to step backwards instead of fighting is so important. And so what you see these guys do, if you watch this in slow motion, and this is what melee players should be doing at all times. You see them move right into each other's threat range, where they can barely kick a leg or like hit someone, and then they make a movement as if they're gonna do something, whatever that movement is, and then they probably don't do it, and then they see how you react to it, and then if you react to it in a way that is obvious or you can take advantage of, then the next time you set up the situation, you take advantage of it. If not, you just reset and look for something else. And so fighting at a high level is a lot of this. A lot of, threat, feint, a lot of these, feint, a lot of timing feints, and this is what melee, and this is what actual fighting games like Street Fighter are like, where they're just playing footsies right outside each other's range and waiting for one person to like barely step into a threat range a little too far that like they've seen them do disrespectfully already. It's like if Prate steps up and he leaves his leg there for a little too long, then the next time it's getting kicked. And so in melee, because you have so much stage to work with and you have platforms, people don't really play that way. But at the end of the day, when you're in close with the other person, if you're reacting to them attacking you or being within that threat range, then like you're engaging in the mix-up. And if you're not reacting, then you're probably just going to start getting pieced up for free. And so that's true across fighting, and you'll see that a lot. And you'll see as like the fighters download each other, they start to get their licks slowly but surely. And you'll see the same thing in very, very high level melee, where like it's tough with Fox because Fox is bullshit. Fox moves so fast. So fast. But like it's generally the same thing. They're inside, outside the threat range, and the more stage that Zane has to give up, the more of these mix-ups he can play where he's like maybe doing something in place, maybe moving away. See, that was really nasty actually. I said Steve, I didn't know his spacing was like that. But my point stands. Like, if he didn't have that stage, he couldn't do that. And so you need to have some stage. It's not important to necessarily have center stage. In some matchups it is. Like, against Puff, if the Puff is, like, anywhere around here, they can back throw, go for one mix-up, and then if you have to recover far away after you lose that mix-up, then they just get a rest on you. So in some matchups, it's more important to play center stage just as one character over the other because the threats that the opponent is more palpable near the ledge. Like, kind of the same in Fox Marth. You don't really want to fight Marth at the ledge. But if the Marth gives up enough space, then you have opportunity to. And so that's kind of the push and pull of center stage and spacing and why it can make neutral easier. And it does just by the fact of having extra space to work with, but it's really about that tension, that line of tension between you and the other character. Every character and every matchup has a different line of tension, and that's the most important thing, is not giving up space for free. And again, in some matchups, holding center stage is good. I don't know, there's some matchups where you might not want to get thrown to platform, or you might not want to fight on platform, and so just fighting near the center stage is good. You probably don't want to fight on platform against Sheik, for instance, or Peach. So, things like that. It's a multifaceted. The question has a lot of different types of answers. It's interesting. Okay, maybe I should be like showing the questions on the screen as I answer them. That might help. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not entirely sure, but I will. I will from now on. Okay, so next question we have right here. Right here. My first ever tournament was this. Do you remember anything about it? It was in New Glasgow. Let's see what we got here. Super Hamster, Clumsy, Fate, Tegan Falsatelli. We got some goats in this bracket. Some OGs people probably won't even recognize. Like Big Mac, Glenwood. Okay, yeah, I do remember this. Middle of nowhere. I think it was being hosted at a card shop or something of the sort. I just remember we had to get out of there like pretty soon. I think things ran a little late and we were supposed to leave at some point. Something funny about this tournament is if you look at the bracket, you'll see this fake guy makes a miraculous losers run, beating wholesome guy Clumsy and taking the first set off of me before falling in the second set. Now, what actually happened is I can't remember why. It was like the combination of us having to leave and thinking it would be funny for like people who hadn't been there because the tournament wasn't streamed, and so back then like no tournaments were streamed pretty much. So no one really knew what was going on in New Glasgow of all places. All they had was a bracket to work off of, and we just thought it would be funny to like say that Fate beat Riley and me and wholesome guy. Like I'm pretty sure we just left before any of that happened. I think we left right here, and so we were like, let's just give him. Like, there was no money on the line. We're like, let's just give him the sets, man. Like, I think we wanted him to get 10th on PR, maybe. There might have been some PR implications there. It's kind of funny because sometimes we talk about how, like, oh, the older generation was, like, so much more, like, so much better, so much more invested in Melee. When, in reality, like, well, a lot of meme events like this happened. But, like, the notorious pot split, if anyone knows about that, between Rick, Jeff, and Kellen, where they got top 3 at Storm the Harbor. The same one that Famous, the #1 player in Newfoundland, flew to, and got 4-stocked by Kellen. Kellen ended up getting 3rd, and Rick and Jeff played Donkey Kong Pikachu in grand finals because they were all splitting the pot money anyway, so it didn't matter. Now the real reason why is they were told that they would have to leave any second now, and so to just like fuck around and play, but that like the plugs would get pulled, and so it kind of ruined the integrity of it to them. It's like, oh, we'll just put the pot and just fuck around with like these characters. But for the people at home watching, it was like, dude, it's grand finals and the game 3, it's 1-1 between this Pikachu DK. The DK is like moving back, doing the monkey dance with the Pikachu in his hands. Good times, man. Anyway, all that to say that this was a fun bracket, and I do remember this. I remember this being a good day in general, hanging out with the guys. So, shout out. I don't know whose first tournament that was, but hell yeah. What keeps you motivated to learn / get better? I just like Melee. It's like, if I'm gonna learn at something, I'm gonna learn at something I like, you know. And I don't know. I feel like life's about learning. Like, what else are you doing in life other than learning and moving forward? And you know, I don't know. What keeps me motivated is when there's a tournament coming up, there's a lot of different things. What keeps me motivated is that I think I still got some left in the tank. I want to leave a bit more of a legacy than I already have. I feel like part of me feels like I'm just getting started, man. Like I could. Anyway, what keeps me motivated is tournaments on the horizon, seeing community and friends, and trying to represent my community in a way that I can be proud of. Like with Gommel coming up in a month, I've started to practice again with Sheik just because, I had been playing a lot of Peach just for funsies, but I want to put out a performance that I'll be proud of, I'll have no regrets for. Whether I actually like place well or not, just that my play. I was really upset when I lost to Arthur at Creed last month. Because I won game 1 and game 2 I was so far ahead that I just like turned my brain off about playing good melee. I was just like, oh, just kill him and then the set's over, you're up 2-0. And then from that point on I just get reversed throughout where I'm just like thinking about him. I'm just feeling emotions. I'm not in my zen state. And so I feel like the better you get at controlling those things in melee, the better you get at controlling them in life. It kind of plays back to some of the other questions earlier. I just see melee as a fundamental healthy outlet for me to grow as a person. And so that keeps me motivated. And the people in the scene keep me motivated. I want to stay better than Frog and Mitz, who are who used to be consistently improving. No, I'm kidding. But like, oh man, I'd be very curious about what keeps them motivated, not just in melee but in life. I'm very curious, but not as a shot, but just like genuinely, I don't know, man. Oh, cut this part out. Cut. What variables are you thinking about constantly in a game? Percent, stage position, habits, pace. Good question. So I'm not thinking about them, but like I'm keeping them in check. So it's like, how you see like a soccer player, like they talk about how Messi. There's a YouTube video that's like, Messi, the best football player in the world, he walks everywhere. How does he get away with walking? Why is he always walking? And the answer to that is that like he looks left, he looks right, he like sees the whole field, he thinks of it top down, like where everyone's positioned. He's like, do I have any opportunities? If I don't, just save my energy for when I do. He's just very efficient. And so when he's looking around, there's variables that he's already thought of beforehand in terms of spacings, positionings of people, habits, like you said, how tired people are, percent, there's all these things that Messi is naturally taking into account from his experience of playing, and like hearing someone breathing heavy, and then it gets notched in your brain. It's like just these different notches on this blank canvas that is the set you're playing. And so I think that a big part of why I can adjust faster than a lot of other players, and why other players then will adjust faster than me, like at like the top level of Zane and Cody, is just how much we've thought about how moves interact with each other and how characters interact with each other, and like how situations happen and unfold, and what it means to be frame positive and negative, and like the flow charts of people's panic options. Like the moment you attack them in shield 3 times in a row, then the next time they're going to try and act the first time because they're going to be giddy, and if you're not pressuring perfectly, they're going to want to act right away. Things like that are like veteran theses for habits that you have. You come into like a set with all these theories depending on how you see your opponent, and this is why top players, when they're playing unranked or like they're doing challenges and they get sniped by someone with a Smurf name, they're so mad because they're like, I can't immediately set my theories for what to expect from you based off of knowing if you're a known player or not. Because like back when I played Moki the first couple times, like we had some really close last stock games. He didn't really know who I was. He didn't really know how to level me. Like, the better that I've gotten and the more familiar he's gotten with me, which is not very familiar. We haven't played a ton. He still does better against me than ever. Fundamentally off of, I think that he's a very unconventional player, and I haven't understood much about him, whereas he understands so much more about me now. So, yeah, I think about all these in a way. I just notch them away. I notch them in the back of my head. Each of these that you mentioned are important ones. Percent stage positioning, habits, pace. Yeah, habits and pace kind of go into like your opponent's general disposition. It's tough because I'm so in tune with my opponents at this point, in terms of like if they feel anxious or if they like want to play defensively or if they want like what they want. That when like I can tell there are situations now that I can tell right away how someone's feeling, and it just triggers so much empathy in me like immediately, and I just don't want to like be the guy who's evil and beats down on like a pain point for someone. I don't know, man. It's an interesting game. You have to have that dog in you and to understand people and still want to crush their hopes and dreams anyway, like by any means possible. Anyway, so we're 2/3 of the way in, 26 minutes in. That's not too bad. Let's see what we got here. I'm thinking a reflection point is I need to stop saying as much and just allow for there to be blank space moving forward. You don't have to answer this question if you don't want to name drop people locally or abroad. Throughout your career, have you ever thought any of your opponents have the potential to become really good players, have a big breakout, but for whatever reason it didn't happen? Yeah. You think, what happened to this person? Where are they now? Yeah. So there's two ways of approaching this question, because there's a ton of players that I've met that have the learning ability and the sight. You can tell by how they calibrate what they're reacting to and like how they are interacting with their opponent, like whether or not they understand people in a game sense, or like how to beat bosses, which are other people. Almost like gamifying the challenge of being another human. It's hard for me to really conceptualize it. I'm sure there's a better way of articulating what I'm trying to get across, but there's players you can just feel have that sense. I'll just put it that way. And so I think Griff kind of has that sense, but I think Griff plays a dogshit character. I think that he doesn't have a whole lot of motivation, and he thinks that like learning certain flowchart things are lame. And so like those are three of, I'm sure there's more imperfections that are holding him back from being a top 100 player, let's say, I would say. And I see this all the time. I like at this point I'm kind of tapped into, I feel like, to just competition enough that you can really tell in the way that someone's disposition, and in like a lot of things about how they talk about the game or about the way that they play. You can tell through a lot of different things if they could be a good player and what's holding them back from being a good player. And some of those things are personal. Some of those are just like a personality thing or like a philosophy thing that will never change. And it's like, okay, well, I see potential in you, but I also see that you don't have potential in a way because you're never going to get over this. It's a weird confliction. Now, there's also the other way of thinking about it, which is like people who just have, again, people who like have godlike talent but are just like, where are they now? It's the same kind of thing where it's like they're held back by priorities, not having a motivation related to milling. Any other players I can think of specifically? Crush, you watch old Crush stuff, and he really had a sense for the game. It's weird. I think Cyrox, but Cyrox still plays, and Cyrox was just kind of he just capped himself, where he just like he found he played a lot and he figured out like what he liked, and then he was just like, yeah, I don't want to deviate from that. And so he capped himself at a skill level that was really good at the time, and it's still pretty good now. But who else? KJH. I feel like KJH has never really lived up to his potential as like a top player. I think that he like I don't know if it's a mentality issue. I don't know what it is that holds him back, but I'm very surprised I haven't seen KJH as a top 15, 20 player in the world. Has he been before? He might have been. I might be mistaken. Let's see. He was ranked 25th in 2018. So he was close, but I would have thought within the last like 5 to 6 years he would be top 20 again. So I'm surprised with him. Who else? Who else? I mean, there's an obvious one. A couple obvious ones, which is Rick and Jeff. Both of those guys could have been top 100 if they treat the game a bit more seriously. But I think Rick also had some issues with underperforming at majors sometimes. I feel like he would get nervous, and it would feel like he lost some of that that clean like ruthlessness that he has in sets. He become like more panicked and more one-dimensional against veterans when he was in big events. Now, somehow locally in big events, like when he's doing it for the boys back home, like, but he's also in his home. He doesn't get that. It's really awesome, but yeah, majors. I don't know. I really thought Rick would be top 100, and I know that if he put more time into traveling back in 2016 to 2019, he definitely would have been, in my mind. But also Millie was so stacked back then, but I still think like in the 90 range Rick would have been there, and I think he had the potential to be better than that. Same with Jeff. I think that Jeff had a real and Kellen. They all had real minds for the game, and I think that if they really wanted to push the game, they could have done it together. But they're also just they're fun enjoyers. You know, doubles is right there. Doubles is right there. How can I not be playing doubles? You know, that there's one more person in the mix, one more person to vibe with. You know, it's like fuck. So, good question. I would love to hear other people's thoughts on that as well. Anyway, last two questions. In the improvement journey, there are lots of times where plateaus hit or worse moments where it's all too much. How do you handle those thoughts and feelings? Is it simply pushing through them and it will pass? Something else? It depends, man. Like, life is a real battle. There's been times where I've plateaued and I feel like sickened by it. And I just, I don't know what the next step is. This might be my limit. I just can't figure it out. And, or like I regress. I feel like I'm regressing and I start losing people I haven't lost to before and I'm playing bad. A couple different things you can do. So my answers aren't fully healthy. Some of them are. Like, one answer I have for that is sometimes I will just... usually it involves, like, throwing something first. But after throwing something, I will, like, in a jolt of anger, I will then go for a little walk, think, oh my god, like, you know, this all fucking sucks. I hate everything. What am I even wasting my life on? Or like, I'm just talentless, or whatever this, I'm hard capped by my equipment, and I just can't use my equipment well because I'm not good enough at pressing the buttons. Any of these thoughts you have are like, oh, well, if you're not good at pressing the buttons, that's an active thing you can think about. And so, what are you not pressing, right? Go back and watch the VOD. What are you missing? What are you really missing? And so there's been many a time where, like, the way that I get through it is to just be like, unless you understand what's making you feel this way, it's gonna happen again. And I don't want to feel this ever again, man. It's like, whatever that feeling is, it's like, I just take that and be like, I do not want to feel this again. It sucks. Like, how did this happen? What made me feel this way? And it's like, that kind of gets rid of the dread of having it, like, the result of what you are witnessing unfold in front of you, whether it's getting reverse 3-stocked by a Puff or a Peach or whatever, whether it's having a day where you just go down 150 rank points against people that you have beaten a million times and you've never lost to before, or you have like 2 weeks of that. Sometimes it's like there's no real tangible answer other than mentally finding something to reset yourself, whatever that is. Sometimes what I do is, if I can't bear to watch a VOD, I will go pick up a 6-pack of beer and I will get drunk and high and blast music that I really like. And then once I'm like in a really like, holy shit, dopamine rush mood of like injecting my brain, I just throw on the VOD and I'm like, all right, let's run it. Fuck it. And then it's like, they say if you want to do the dishes, but a lot of dishes have piled up, just say like, I'm just going to wash my favorite cup. And then you go over to the dishwasher. Like, that's a simple goal. It's an easy goal. You go over to the sink, you wash your favorite cup, aside from everything else. You put it down and you think to yourself, okay, I just washed the cup. I might as well wash another dish. I'm here. I'm already, and then all of a sudden, you've gotten through it. This task that seemed impossible. And so with Millie, it's the same thing. Just like, I'll just turn on the VOD. As long as you just say, I'll just turn it on. I don't even need to really watch it. Like, maybe I'll do something else. Like, I'll throw an anime on the other screen. It takes me like 4 minutes to just, before I like pause the anime, and I'm like taking notes while I'm watching the VOD. I'm like, no, yeah, like, if you are invested in the game, you have a commitment to it, you care about it, you can trick yourself into actually putting in that work. So, depends. How do you handle those thoughts and feelings? There's so many other ways to approach it, man. And doing something that makes you happy. Taking the skateboard out. Having some fruit nearby, like getting some fruit at the grocery store. You lose, you're losing. Things are going bad. You don't really want to watch the VOD. You go and grab a peach. You're eating a peach. You're like, this is a good peach. And all of a sudden, what you're focused on is so small, but so big at the same time. It's like there are other things in life. I'm enjoying a peach right now. Maybe you've got like some nice UVs on your room. It's not, maybe you like your room black and white. Whatever it is that makes you happy, whatever you can do to make yourself happy and to realize that like other things exist that you enjoy, but also that you want to be here, that like, in spite of the fact that there's other things that you want to be playing this game, when you refresh your mind like that, I think that's actually the most important part. When you can tell yourself that there's other things that are out there that make me happy. I'm playing a video game right now. I have this luxury. You're only so young. You can only, like, for so long, you can only have the ability to keep up with the youngins for so long. Whether you're a youngin yourself, that time flies. And so just enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. There's a interview that I used to have on my Twitter profile from Ricky Turquoise. Turquios. Yep. This one here. It's my favorite interview of all time after a fight. It summarizes to me what it means to, like, go for it all.
It's a dream come true, Felder. You know what I'm saying? I want to say, Salamat sa Dios. Thank God.
So first off, every fighter, they start their interview with "Thank God." It's just a thing. I'm a fan of it. What can I say? Whatever.
Gracias a Dios. Alhamdulillah.
But that aside,
God gave me everything. This would not have been possible without the Spirit. I want to go ahead and give a message to the children.
A message to the children. This is to all of you out there. Every one of you watching this video. And everything he says has weight.
Believe in yourself. Don't fear failure. Dream big. Work hard. Stay positive. Enjoy the journey. Thankful.
If you think about each fragment that he just dropped of heat, it all really matters, man. It all really matters. Dream big, have those big goals. Work hard for them. Don't fear failure. You're gonna fail. It's gonna hurt. That's okay. To feel failure is to be alive. Enjoy the journey. You only get one. All this matters for Millie. All this matters for life. How do I handle those thoughts and feelings? With an indomitable will and a pain period of about a half hour. Short answer. How to beat Fox's Nair Dare overshoot. Amazing. Great final question. Let me show you. Hold on. How to beat Fox Nair Dare overshoot undershoot dash dance mix up. Great question. This is a question that historians have been studying for generations. You know, it's a tale as old as time. Someone like Mewtwo King might say, it can't be done. There's no winning. It's a 60-40 matchup anyway. I mean, what do you expect? You're going to get mixed up. Now, the answer depends on the character.
Training mode.
Easiest answer, spacing. Hitting him before or after. Simple. Very simple. So, how is that going to manifest? Really is about tension. How to beat Fox. Let me put this on the side screen so I can remember exactly what I'm looking to do. Okay. Almost let me smoke a joint while I set this up.
Parts.
Yeah, let's make this realistic. Okay, so let's say you're in the corner with Sheik, with Falco, with anyone, right? And Fox is over here, dash dancing, and at some point they're gonna choose to like, let's say they dash in like this, dash in, wave dash back, you know, do an option like this, dash in, something like this. You know, they're going to do one of these things, right? Probably. If I'm a Fox man, I do one of those. And specifically, if I'm a Fox, I do that one. Because it hits where they are. And if you wave dash back, it hits it hits the whole way. So this is the nair that I would go for if I'm a Fox. Because I'm just trying to hit everything. Now, if I go for that nair, the thing is you know. So a couple things, because there's a lot to keep track of. One is timing. So how do you beat Fox's nair, dare, overshoot, undershoot, dash, dance, mix up? What you're asking is, how do I time this Fox? And so there's a couple different ways of approaching that. In terms of tension, in terms of threats, you look at, again, martial arts, you look at fighters, you throw out a jab once, and someone's going to respect that range. You know, the moment you threaten you're going to throw a jab, they're not going to put their face into that zone because they don't want to get hit. And so the moment you threaten, like, the moment you threaten, like, jab up tilt, jab up, like, what, jab, you know, whatever. As Sheik, it's a lot tougher. As Marth, it's a lot easier to show. Like, in the earlier VOD, 25 minutes ago, when we were doing Zane Cody, you saw that how they were holding the tension, and Zane is just like nair in place, dash back, dash forward, down tilt, dash back, dash forward. And so he's like holding the zone with a lot of threats. And that's what I'll usually do, is I'll hold the zone with short hop and then wait to react. And so it's like the moment that I see the Fox is like here, then I'll react to the forward air. And if the Fox keeps running towards me, they'll get hit by it. And if they dash back into dash forward, then like I've already landed and they're here by the time I've landed. So I have time for another mix-up. And it's not that I am visually seeing that, it's that I know that, based off of like how fast I know Fox is as a character, based off of his limitations in terms of the threats that I'm throwing out. And so that's how I hold tension, and how I try and beat Fox nair dare is by setting up like ambiguous ranges, because I don't want them to read that I want to go for like a forward air and then just run up, approach here, and then dash grab. Like I don't want that. So one time I'll forward air, and then the next time I'll jump for a back air. And so if they're already running up with the idea of the spacing in mind, the moment they see me turn with my back, they kind of have to pivot their idea. And so they might shield now. And so now I have a situation where I back their shield. They're in shield, so they're not running. So they have to do a wave dash if they want to start movement, or they have to maybe jump. And so if I know that they have to do an action, and I'm here after back airing their shield, I know as well that dash attack goes past his shield. And so if at the timing, right after I back air, I think he's going to do anything at all, I dash attack. Because dash attack covers him trying to do literally any option based off of the frames. If he keeps holding shield, because he respects me going for a dash attack, which is the very first time we have this interaction, I will, every time. If he respects me enough to hold his shield the next time, now we're playing mix-ups. Now I can go for a dash-up grab. I can dash in and wait, thinking that after shielding, he's going to spot dodge. Because now he has to play the mix-up where it's like, timing, beat 1 is, am I going to dash attack? I haven't dash attacked, so beat 2, what am I going to do immediately? If I'm already dashing at him, he has to act instantly, so he has to already be spot dodging. So shield, move, wait a second, then spot dodge. So if I think he's going to do that, I run forward, I wait. Or if I think he's going to dash back or jump, again, like as a mix-up, I run forward and wait, because out of my weight, I'm in a position where if he does something defensively like that, I can cover any of them. Now, the better Foxes, what they start to do is they start to do like shield and a fade back drill to shield. It covers me moving forward. It also is, you can act out of it with either shine or shield or spot dodge. A lot of things that can interact with that, that he can do after, that are really good mix-ups. So from there, it becomes back air shield into short hop towards him. And then the moment I set up a short hop, unless he up smashes out a shield on reaction, which it's too risky to go for based off of the startup frames of it. My forward air comes out so quickly. If I go for a auto cancel forward air, it will just hit him first, and then I get to act immediately on his hit stun. Anyway, I can visualize all this because I've played it out a million times against Foxes, and I've watched it back and been like, what am I doing? But you can see how I can go down like one rabbit hole of an interaction for like 5 minutes. And you play someone, you see like how far down that rabbit hole they go. When you're a really good player, like again, you're notching things. We talked about this earlier. So you notch things, and you get to a point where, oh, this is their capacity. And so that immediately calms you down as a player, because you're like, there's nothing more for me to like really look for other than mix-ups within this capacity of how far they can take the nuance of these interactions, because these options I'm talking about aren't things you can really see the first time. You know, I'm not gonna back air shield set up forward air like that the first time against anyone but like Moki, who I know is gonna do like the best option, or like Cody. And so when you see me do this against one of those players on like in a set on YouTube, and you're like, oh, like that's a good option, and you go for it, and then you get scrubbed by this player you're playing, and I'm like, I don't know why it's not working for me. It's like, well, it's because they have the mutual respect of this, they have the mutual respect of this, they have the mutual respect of this. All of that has been played out by them, and they respect the other player to know that they're probably not going to run those level 1 mix-ups, because the moment that the moment you get in the habit of running those in spots outside of like 1 in 10 times, like it, which is so hard to keep in your mind sparingly do without over focusing on it, you just start to get scrub checked. Like the opponent will like when you're playing at a top level, both players know people well enough to like immediately pick up on that as a habit, like a bad habit. You just need to eliminate all the extra fat pretty much, and so you should rarely be doing things like that. But sorry, I'll get back to the main point. How do you beat Fox Nair, Dare? I'm so sorry for people that like have limited time and just want to hear the answer to a question, and even right now I'm still just rambling about nothing, but well, a lot of it was useful. But anyway, I'd be Fox Nair, Dare undershoot. Short answer. What have I done? There's this one, right? And so the way I beat it is I meet the Fox first. If I see them dash dancing, I throw out an option that like can hit them, like that full hop nair. And then if it misses them, I can still like land with another option or play a double jump mix up. Like it's not a terrible mix up for me to go for something like that. If it hits them, I get 3% and we cross up the stage. Now, seeing that on like Falco, you get a more pure answer, which is to and so here's the thing, there's also just the ones that like noobs will do, which is they'll do the short nair because they see you right there and they just want to hit you right away and they're afraid, or if they're a good Fox, they're consciously thinking about both of those nairs and doing both mix-ups. But something like that if you're a Falco. Short hop, space outside the range of the nair, and land on it before the shine can come out. There's like 15, probably less than that. Maybe like 8 to 10 frames, but that's so much in melee for you to land on them with a move. There's also like there's also like the main point is like, how do you beat it? Well, you have to know where they're trying to hit with it, and so what a lot of people have an issue with is like they're just running in a lot, and so the Fox is just that was bad. Like the fox is just hitting them with that nair. Like after, so let's say someone dash dances to try and wait to react, and the moment that, because erase everything I just said over the last 15 seconds. Sometimes people will establish a position naturally. They don't even know they have, because they're just in that spot. And that happens from whatever mix-up just happened beforehand. Now you're in this new spot. And so people like to take a second to react in that new spot. If they aren't familiar with it, or they haven't figured out these preconceived mix-ups. They haven't watched it back and thought, oh, I should just do this or this. If you don't know instantly, you're going to want to react a lot of the time. Sometimes waiting to react is a good thing. And sometimes you have to know when you can and when you can't. That is another part of things. But if you're someone who your habit is to wait to react, and so you do like a little dash dance and then you go forward, they're just going to time like when they normally feel like you're going forward and nair at that timing. And so you're getting, in those cases, you're just getting timing read. In other cases, they're just doing it at the same time each time, which you can kind of get a feel for as you play someone. Oh, if they're just doing it at the same time each time, it's based off of spacing probably, right? So when I'm here and they're this close, they're going to go for it. And so you put yourself that close, and then you move out of that range. Or you put yourself that close, and then you move into their range if you think that they're going to try and chase you a bit further, because you've just moved yourself out of that range the last couple times. It's just a tug of war. Like, how do you beat it? You beat it with whatever option your character has that plays into that tug of war of being early or hitting them late. And sometimes, if let's say you're struggling with that, just avoid the situation. Shield, roll, and then run away. And then what do they do after the next dash nair? Because they're going to try and dash nair or dash down air at you again, probably, if they're in range. And so do they immediately dash at you again? Okay, well, next time you can dash away and then just dash attack them, because they're not playing defensive. They're going to keep chasing you. A lot of different answers to that question. But that's because it's like, how do you beat a person playing neutral, depending on how they're doing it. So there's the simple answer. And then if you think of like a fox doing nair and dare mix-ups with an overshoot, undershoot, dash dance at the highest level, then the answer is just like 15 pages, right? And so I hope I condensed it enough in terms of the concepts of it for you to understand. But yeah. Anyway, 9 questions. Took me about an hour. First run through of this. Now let me know what you guys think. If it's just not worth your time, or if I should just in the future snip this down instead of just uploading raw footage. I can do that. There is definitely a lot of filler words and ideas. I could also maybe take this hour, watch it back myself, and then condense the ideas and make like a 15-minute to 20-minute video answering them. But that is effort. I don't know if I want to put the time into that. But maybe I will if there's an overwhelming amount of people that think that that is what I should be doing instead. So either way, let me know your thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any other questions, I'll be doing another document next week. If I haven't, by Wednesday. Someone remind me, Anyway, thanks again for watching, and ciao. I smoked like none of this joint. That's gonna be a work in progress.